We're back. It's a Good Contractor podcast powered by Company Cam. That's the CEO of Company Cam right there. His name's Luke. Hi, Luke. We have gotten to a couple milestones, but first I want to talk about that everybody needs to dive in and go to community.companycam.com and join us. Create a username, chat with folks. We've got all kinds of people in there. We have over 100 different people registered right now in the community that are there to talk. And these are contractors who can talk to you about anything and everything, including using the Company Cam app, which I want to talk to Luke about today. Guess what, Luke? We hit 4,000 downloads on this little podcast of ours. How about that?
We're doing big things.
4,000. And I'm going to read you some cool stats. This podcast has been consumed for over 3,000 hours, which would be like somebody listening to it for 4 months straight. I did the math. I checked it. That's wild.
These poor people.
So I had to get all the housekeeping items out of the way. Community.companycam.com. We hit 4,000 downloads. Thank you to all who have been listening and giving us feedback. Now, to get to the good stuff. Luke, we kind of earlier this year kind of did a temperature episode of like where you think the space is.
People have the same problems, and it almost never changes. No one wants to use our app. It's like the idea of showing up on time, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm worried about AI, cool new stuff that you're like, how did I live without this? And then you forget about it and you just keep living without it. The trades are, like, safe is the right word, but
you said you're worried about AI. What were you saying about
that? No,
it's
not worried. It's a long ways from, like, knocking on your door, negotiating with the supplier. And, like, we're doing a bunch of AI stuff to give people more time to do the work and or to be done working and go home, and less time using an app. I don't know. It's exciting out there.
I want to read you a headline today to kick us off. Are you ready?
Yep.
It is estimated by the Associated Builders and Contractors that in 2026, we are going to need 500,000 new construction workers to meet demand. I want you to let that resonate for a second. Now, again, this is a projection. I've seen some as high as 200,000, 300,000, but we're going to need 500,000 people to be doing construction. But that number blew my mind. And so I wanted this episode to be about where do you think things are? How does Company Cam look with that? Just Luke's general thoughts on the industry, because there's a lot happening.
So I thought immediately when you started asking that question, I thought, I wonder how many high school students will graduate in the United States next year.
Yeah.
Any guesses? Just take a guess of what Claude thinks. High school, like how many new high school graduates will there be, this year?
Are we north of 1 million?
Yes.
1.6 million.
Based on search results, approximately 3.9 million high school students will graduate. But it says, interestingly, after the 2025 peak, the number of graduates is projected to steadily decline through 2041, where there will be about 3.4 million graduates, which is just interesting. I didn't really realize. Doing the math, 500,000 is 1/8 or 12.5% of the 4 million high school graduates. Like if I just think of kids coming out of high school and to come into like the trades, it does seem to be going around this message that, hey, going into the trades is actually a really good career. It's actually a little insulated from kind of some of the white collar, like, AI, world changing, stuff. I have a plumber at my house right now. Dog went nuts earlier.
Is he using Company Cam?
They do use Company Cam. I wouldn't let a contractor step in here without using Company Cam. But point being, that message is spreading a little bit that like, hey, these are actually like good careers that you can do well working as a tech, like just as a job, but you also have the opportunity to turn that into a business, to be an entrepreneur. And I feel like that is going around, but they're like I'll call it the stigma or whatever, certainly hasn't completely eroded. And then I even think the kind of like Instagram lifestyle, the idea of like, oh, you're getting rich. Oh, you're like, oh, I found this like hack and like you suckers are working, but like I found, and most of that is just nonsense, like it's just trying to get followers 100%. Or whatever. But there's there is that like that kind of like track that's also happening, you know?
Mhm.
But I've talked to, I feel like more people the last year or two that are like, yeah, college just doesn't seem like as good of a deal, like going into debt, etc. And even my 12-year-old, um, like he goes to this school and they do these internships. It's
Yeah.
pushing it, but like he interned at a local like kind of like car detailing place, you know.
Mhm.
He's not that interested in like coming to company camp office and watching people type on the computer and have meetings or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he'd come home, I gotta sit in a Lamborghini, or he has all these interesting facts. Dad, you would never believe how many people have breathalyzers in their cars. I was like, well, I might believe it. I have worked in the trades. Um,
Oh my
but
God.
he's like, that's their biggest business, like, is installing these breathalyzers. It's just
Wow.
funny. Like, he
That's
gets all this
amazing.
world information, but he's out there just kind of getting a feel of it, of like that kind of work. And I know to him, it doesn't have a
Okay.
stigma. You know what I
This
mean?
is this is a great segue because I was going to ask you this, and you and I have kids of similar ages. My son is creating YouTube stuff, and he's like, "Look, Dad, this got 50,000 views." I was like, "Do you want to come work here?" Like, my wife and I both do content marketing, so we'd love to have you here. But anyway, I think we need to get those two together. They'll conquer the world. The one thing that I think is so interesting is they seem, I think, because they grew up with technology, they almost seem so fascinated by non-technology.
Mm.
So they're fascinated by somebody like building furniture, or they're fascinated by somebody's like, well, how did you run this? Well, yeah, I ran this like whole deal in like with the shower and we replaced this. Like, well, how'd you do that? Like that to me seems way more fascinating than them like doing this. But I see more kids are like, oh my God, you build guitars like out of wood. And you and I being, elder millennials, it's like, oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, we've seen both sides of it. So maybe it's not as interesting. I
Before this
don't know.
podcast is over, I'm going to go acquire my uh John Tallman guitar. I
Oh,
forget what actually the name is, but it's in the case over there. For whatever reason, yesterday my wife was like, "You need to start playing the guitar again." I was like, I kind of suck at that. Like, and
there's only one
every
way to
time
get
I
better,
get it
Luke.
out, I
There's
end up
only
with a
one way to get
7-year-old
better.
girl ripping with like volume at 11, and then you're like, the whole house is shaking, and you're like, all right, this is a
That's
little rough.
that, that's called time to
But
party.
to
I
your
love it.
point, most people like building things and
Yeah.
like the kind of create like, oh, or there's an interesting problem to solve, this type of thing. And you almost have to get drummed down into like, nope, you're going to sit on Zoom meetings. Nope. Like, but the
Yeah.
building of the things is what's interesting. It was probably a TikTok or something that I watched, but it was this guy is saying they, tested little kids about being a genius or something. And that like you test higher on that the younger you are. The explanation, I believe, was something connected to sort of like creativity. Like you just sort of get less creative. Well, and then your concerns become more practical. Like you have kids and you're like, oh yeah, like just like making a living is good
Yep.
versus I'm going to do something amazing and get my name out there and, get my
Mhm.
video to X number of views or whatever. That's still your job,
Right.
for the record. You too, Josh. I know you're listening. Uh, more views. A lot of this stuff naturally, I think, happens. Well, this is the beauty of the market and like the price system. Oh, the price of aluminum went up. You don't have to
Mhm.
know like all the million things that would go into the prices of aluminum going up. The market tells you, oh, aluminum is in higher demand. And there's some point there where you're like, oh, I'm going to look for some alternative or whatever. And the same thing is true, like for jobs. Right now, the price of trade jobs is like going up. Like they're
Yeah.
just getting paid better because there is a lower supply, there's a higher demand. I'll tell you right now how you get people to a job is you pay them, you offer them a place that like they would like to work or an environment that's conducive, et cetera, et cetera. But like you're competing in the market. And previously, competing in the market for a trade job was not as compelling as any of these sort of white collar style jobs, but it's becoming more so. And a lot of that, I think, just follows the money. Instead of it's like, oh, he's a plumber, ha ha ha, or a roofer or whatever. It's like, oh, he's got a boat. I like
You're
boats. I want to be on that
right.
boat. And all of a sudden, roofing is a lot cooler when you're on a boat. I think of the trades as being like, just there's like a real fairness to the thing to me,
Yes.
meaning like
Yeah.
and I will tell you this for a fact, anyone that is willing to work, and there's an element of getting yourself to work that actually can be difficult. Do you have a vehicle, et cetera? Like, so there's maybe some sort of a floor. If you can arrive at the place and you are willing to listen and to try hard, you can have a job. Every one of these places, everyone we talk to, finding labor, finding people to work, etc. Like that's hard. If you're willing to learn, to be humble, to work harder, you're going to like improve your skills. And there's this upward trajectory of like being the person who can bring in new people and train them and make sure things get done right, or starting your own business. Like there is this path that maps very cleanly to your commitment, because it's real work. It has to get done. And if you're willing to work hard and to do it and to treat people well, like you can just do really well there. And now that that's continually paying better, I mean, this plumber's expensive, man. You're looking at like doing stuff in your house, like, whoa, this is getting way
Right.
more expensive. And there's materials and stuff. And like, obviously there's other parts of that, but a lot of it is, oh, the people are getting paid more, which
Yeah.
is, I don't know, I'm all for it.
I want to transition to the future. So looking at 2026, we are in the middle, and this is a good time to talk about it, of a app redesign. By the way, how scary is it to take something that is very successful and go, now we're going to put a fresh coat of paint on this thing? Like,
Oh
or
yeah, I
have
told
you
him
found
yesterday,
it?
we're burning the boats, dude. That's it.
It's,
Like,
guys, this is
yeah,
not the
the
sound
only
of
way
somebody who's
around is
nervous.
through. I'm giving them like sales training, inspirational speeches about, tweaking the pixels.
Glengarry
Like,
Glenn Ross speeches always
yeah.
be
Oh, yeah,
closing. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
100%. We are updating kind of like screen by screen and trying to make this sort of more coherent experience throughout the app. Like that things make sense. Oh, what would if I wanted to do this, I would go here. And then to try to communicate to people, especially like new people that are signing up, this app does more than take pictures. Like that
Hmm.
is a central problem. And like that is a central part of the experience. It does a lot more than that. Photos, videos, checklists that you're making, documents that you're building. I was like messing with our AI document builder this morning. It's like super cool and only getting better. And that like there's a lot of stuff in here, threading the needle of communicating that to people without putting everything in front of everyone all at the same time. You talk to anyone who's built a website or anything, it's like the first one you do, your inclination is like, oh, well, someone might want to
Throw
do this.
everything.
Someone might want to,
Yes.
and like you end up with this like you have no clear path to doing anything because there's barraging with so many options. You can't actually operate that way because it's just overload on people. We want to clean it up, and then we want to give you sort of like clearer ways to do things without losing the important experiences. Like I believe strongly when you open this app, you should see some of the latest photos. Like it should just be a default experience that like you're seeing things that are happening at your business. But for a lot of people, like if you work in the field, if you're not like a manager or you're not worried about the kind of overall story, you're like, I'm on this job and I'm trying to get this job done. You don't necessarily need to see everything. So simultaneously accommodating the kind of individual like roles and what people do and what's relevant to them, not kind of like forcing you to make decisions that you don't understand. You know what I mean? It's like sort of
Hmm.
smart defaults.
Hmm.
Look, we're burning the boats. The only way around is through. If 10% less people upload documents or whatever, then we will solve that problem like independently. None of this is sacred. This is
Sure.
like the first update. And then you talk to real people, you watch them use it, you look at the data, you do, what is Hank always saying? Do the highest, best, next thing. That is the way to continually making things better. And I think, especially for our company, I would way rather make errors of like sort of speed than to make errors of like being tentative and worrying too much. Postscript to all of that. We are mostly experimenting and running this stuff against like new customers. It's a lot cleaner to learn. Hey, does the old way or the new way work better for these people? And like you can tweak things and you can really learn. And then you're not dumping everyone who uses this app for work at every day in some giant psychological design experiment. Then when you switch for everyone else, you're switching to something that you know works, and you give them paths to do all the things that they were doing, and everything's a little better, etc. And then for our existing customers, if they want to opt into being like a beta user where they get early access to this stuff, they can do that, but they're deciding to do it. Totally changes your attitude toward it versus like opening
You're,
your app one day and being like, what the hell is going
oh
on?
my God.
You know what I mean? Like, where's the 17 buttons I used to have, you know?
Right.
And it's like
Right.
that
Yeah.
experience is not great. And at some point that'll happen. It'll like switch, you know, we'll do it gradually, but only after we've like proven, oh, this is definitively better. You know, we're trying not to like Crocker Barrel logo people or whatever. There's just been a handful of these like things going on.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what I like about it. Number one, having been in a different software space, but I've been around definitely software teams. I like that we're doing it the way we are. The second thing is, I think that has been neat about what you've said, and I'd love for you to touch on as we finish today, is that one of the more remarkable things you've said is, as you don't give me a funny look. You say a lot of remarkable things, Luke. Don't worry. It's not like a
I
surprise.
know that. I didn't know you knew that.
I do know. You're
Okay,
just
great.
you're the greatest boss I've ever had
You're
in my
paid
life.
to know that. Okay,
I'm glad
go
we got
ahead.
all that recorded. Company Cam is a product. Obviously, there's people employed here, they get paid. And you've said in earnest. I also would like this to be something that people use less, meaning they can get more done on the job
Yes.
without using the app, which most people in the last 20 years that I've been in the tech world would be like, what are you talking about? Like, we want people hooked at this thing like it's glued to their head. Back to our original conversation about the trades, it allows people to get more like non-tech work done. And that to me is remarkable.
I was listening to this podcast earlier. It's the chief marketing officer of Meta. He was talking about stuff like ads, like that, like, hey, we get paid when people are looking at our thing. That's the result, is like, if you're watching the ads on TV or scrolling by them on your phone, that is how this company makes money. Therefore, your attention is what's valuable. And attention is valuable. Like, we want attention. You're not paying us for the amount of like scrolling
Right.
you're doing on this app.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we are entering into this kind of arrangement where it's like, hey, you're paying us for access and storage and all these capabilities, and the fact that we employ hundreds of people to like keep building this thing. You're paying for some sort of result. You know, this is a tool alongside your actual work. You get paid for completing your real work and doing a great job. You know, we want to help you grow your business. That's the perfect segue. Look, I'm taking over, man. Do you see? There's a phone on your screen. That's happening. They can't see it at home, but this is a version of the new home screen that I kind of vibe coded. So this app doesn't like completely work, but like we have this portfolio thing on here. This is what I was doing this morning, to the point of, we don't want you having to spend more time than is necessary. But we do want to be able to make you these portfolios, you know, like, and so I set up the screen this morning because we have those portfolios with the beautiful maps and everything.
Yeah.
And so I was like trying to imagine, like, okay, how do we sort of show that to people? And I was able to get this.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Ooh.
So like, this is the American Home Contractors. Shout out David Silverstein. This is like their map of projects. I think they have it. You can embed it on your website, you know, but it's like, how do we
So cool.
get you from the work that you're doing to more value without you having to do every little piece along the way? Someone recently said this phrase to me: assume zero cooperation. I love that phrase. And what they really mean is like, hey, if something is work to do in your app, it won't happen. Or to have 5% of people will do it. But like, the fact that people open up our app and take the time to like open it up, tap the project, take the photos, I view as some sort of minor miracle. There's a simple formula in business, which is that if we are bringing you a lot of value, and if you, the customer, feel like the relationship is fair, hey, I'm trading money for value and I'm getting more value than the money I'm giving you. You're saying with your actions that you think it's a good deal. If we can stay on the right side of that and ideally accelerate away from that, you know, how do we require the absolute minimum from you? Running this app is not your job. How do we take the information you're giving us, the data, the attention you're willing to give us, and turn that into more and more and more value for your business, that assumes no cooperation from you. And like to the point of these portfolios, we're working towards just having AI understand what you're doing on that project so that it can pick out some photos and suggest it to you and be like, hey, looks like this was a Tesla roof installation. Here's some photos. Should we add this to your portfolio? Sure. That's getting reviews. That's showing off your work. That's what we're going towards. If we require this much effort from you, then the amount of value that we deliver, like our opportunity as a business is the distance between, this point and this. And the more we require from you and we deliver the same value, that's the space in between there is shrinking. And for us and you, we want it to grow. Like that's what makes this a good relationship. Both those numbers are getting bigger and you're doing zero extra work. Hey, you keep using this, and our promise is like this value thing is going to keep going up, and this required attention work that you're putting into it, we're going to try to keep as low as possible. Ideally, it'll actually go down. That's what AI should do. That's more time to do the real work that you get paid for. Everyone wins. It should be easy.
That becomes my new thought for the 2026 slogan, which is the future of getting more shit done. And can we put that on a t-shirt? I mean, that's what I would like to do.
I'll buy 3.
This is awesome. This is exciting. And you can follow along too. We've got updates somewhat daily, it seems like, on what's happening with the app redesign. We have a sub forum on community.companycam.com that houses all these fun new updates about what's happening with the app redesign. And of course, everything is at companycam.com. It is the Good Contractor Podcast. It is Luke. I'm John. We will see you next time. The Good Contractor Podcast is powered by Company Cam.
Company Cam is an app built to help contractors organize their with multiple people at multiple locations snapping hundreds of photos. Organizing them can become a full-time job. That's where Company Cam comes in. Sign up today to get your team started.